Hello, welcome to Armchair Sports Talk. I'm Sterling, and we're talking about Week 7. I just recorded this before, and I updated it while it was saving, like an idiot. And unfortunately, it did not save. So we're going to go back through this and try it again. Just to recap, last week it was a down week, unfortunately. Week 5, we won a couple grand. Last week, we almost lost all of that. So that's 3 weeks positive, 3 weeks negative. But of course, with the big win, we're up several thousand, which is great. So if we're keeping track, that's a little update. We can always get down to the nitty gritty on the Facebook page. So Armchair Sports Talk, that's where we have most of our dialogue, conversation, and I'm posting a lot. We have college football in full swing. Sean's doing a great job with that. I know there's some more videos that he's been working on. Be sure to also look for DFS Tavern. I'll be doing my conversation with David there a little later as we preview Week 6 as well. We use a little different format, so I'm going to go through each position on daily fantasy for FanDuel, DraftKings, and Yahoo, and we're going to hit on some of my favorite plays. We'll talk on pricing, and we'll go from there. So we'll go to quarterback. Russell Wilson comes in at a great value, not the best, but he's going to be about sixth or seventh, and he's in a great matchup. Everybody associates the Ravens with their defense, when in fact they're actually an up and down offense or up and down defense. So there's some opportunity there, especially the way Wilson's been playing. There's an opportunity to stack Wilson and Wilson because Luke Wilson's filling in for Disley, who unfortunately has been playing really well, and it looks like he may have ruptured his Achilles. So I don't think that that's going to hamper Russell Wilson. He's been in the zone, for lack of a better phrase. DK Metcalf is in consideration, and Lockett's always a play. So if we go over from there, we see Deshaun Watson. He's going to be a value compared to Yahoo. So he's priced up on Yahoo. But he is a good value on FanDuel as well. So you see we have some highlighted marks for Deshaun Watson. Let's talk about that matchup. It's a little tough on the road at Indy, but it is indoors. These games do tend to shoot out between these two teams. Most divisional rivals tend to play a little bit lower point scoring total, but these two teams tend to kind of play up. So that's an opportunity here. Deshaun Watson's been in the zone as well. And you get a little bit of savings, especially with that extra money you get on FanDuel. On Yahoo, we have Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is in a great spot. He is $26, and the lowest price is $20 for a quarterback. He gets to play the Cardinals at home. He gets Saquon Barkley back. He gets Evan Ingram back. Golden Tate's off of suspension. I do think that there's something to note with Patrick Peterson, but I don't think he's going to be as disruptive as some people may be concerned with. So Daniel Jones represents a nice opportunity there. When we go to running back, Josh Jacobs, I really like his spot against the Green Bay Packers. I mean, how many times do the Raiders have to surprise me before I have to acknowledge they may not be a bad team? This is probably a trap spot, but Josh Jacobs gets 20 carries plus a game. He has the upside of 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. We've seen him do it twice now, so to say it's off the table would be ignorant, and we don't want to be ignorant. We want to be rich. So hopefully Josh Jacobs can make us rich. Dalvin Cook, I'm not really in love with the matchup. The Lions did a pretty good job on the run game, but Dalvin Cook is used in the air. I think it's just going to be a lower scoring game, slower paced. So to pay $8,000 for Dalvin Cook just seems like a poor investment of money, especially when you got Leonard Fournette for $1,000 less, and he should just be dominant over the Bengals. They are without a lot of players that otherwise wouldn't even be on NFL rosters if it wasn't for the Bengals. So now they're going to have to play the backups to those bad players. That's a pretty funny way of thinking about it. But Leonard Fournette's in a prime spot to just really get you some nice upside there. A lot of people are going to realize that. So just be aware you're not going to be unique. You're just going to be kind of keeping pace with the field by doing that. Saquon Barkley, $300 less on FanDuel than on DraftKings, so that means we play him on FanDuel. I do like this matchup against the Cardinals, $8,600. He should be $9,100. Seems like they're giving us a little price break there, or maybe even more than that. So just play Saquon Barkley on FanDuel, and then you can play the other side of the ball and David Johnson on Yahoo at $23. That's just a really low price. I don't know why he's priced down. I guess they were anticipating a bad game, or they were concerned about his back, or they're concerned about the extra work Chase Edmonds is getting. All of those are legitimate reasons, but $23 is just too low for a guy in a great matchup. The Giants aren't doing anything too impressive. So let's just fire up David Johnson on Yahoo and let the rest fall in place. If you need a little bit of savings, Joe Mixon offers that at $14. He's getting a lot of the work. Just this matchup's awful. The Jaguars are a better team. The Bengals are rebuilding. They're playing for draft position, even if they don't want to acknowledge it. Um, he's an average running back in my opinion. Maybe he's a little above that, but probably don't want to play Joe Mixon unless you have to or you're doing a game stack. I mean, he's always a threat to break one because he's a slightly above average talent running back. I'll give him credit where credit's due. We'll switch gears over to wide receiver. We're gonna have to organize this one real quick because there are a lot of wide receivers to consider. Mike Williams is going to come up first, but he's not my favorite. It's going to be T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton, $5,900 is underpriced. I told you earlier that this game tends to shoot out between the Texans and the Colts. T.Y. Hilton, Jacoby Brissett, that's a lethal combination. They've shown some rapport, maybe not the same level of Andrew Luck, but it's been a while that Andrew Luck's been retired. It seems like the Colts are adjusting just fine. I think that if this game shoots out, T.Y. Hilton will be a good reason why the Colts are either able to win or keep it close. So I'm projecting my ownership to be way over what the field is, but the field should have close to 40% T.Y. Hilton, and I'll probably be in that 80% range, maybe even a little higher. So just be aware of that. T.Y. Hilton's in a great spot. $5,900 is really low. And then Mike Williams at $4,600. He's dealing with some back injuries, but he did get targeted in the end zone. He has some regression coming his way, which is, in his case, going to be good. So he's priced down as they wait for it. Just note that price is $100 more than Will Fuller when he went off. So there's no reason why Mike Williams can't get himself 3 touchdowns. I'm not predicting that, but I do think he does get into the end zone. And if he does it at least the one time, he should be able to return value for us. Always the pay-up options on FanDuel are going to be a better value because they give you the extra money to pay it. So $200 more for Michael Thomas, it's not a big deal. One value we have is Larry Fitzgerald coming in $500 less on FanDuel. Possession receivers are actually not a bad idea on FanDuel because you don't get the 100-yard bonus. You don't get a full point per reception. So with possession receivers, especially bigger wide receivers like Larry Fitzgerald, they can box out those other smaller slot corners in the end zone. And this is the prime option for Larry Fitzgerald to get a touchdown or two against a subpar defense. Only problem is Larry Fitzgerald's a little older, and as it's worked out so far, he does tend to wear down as the season goes on. But that $500 savings is very rare on FanDuel, and this might be the week to take advantage of it. If we go down a little bit, I also like Tyler Boyd a lot. I didn't highlight him, but he's the same price on FanDuel versus DraftKings, which is another way of telling the value at the wide receiver position. I don't know what else to say. I mean, there's no Jalen Ramsey, so you don't have to worry about him matching up against Boyd. He's getting targeted around 10 times per game. They should be playing from behind. This is just a great opportunity. $5,600. Let Tyler Boyd be your T.Y. Hilton on FanDuel, and the rest will fall in place. $12 for D.D. Westbrook on Yahoo. That's an absurd price considering the consistent target share he's getting. And again, we talk about regression. I'm stealing this conversation from some podcasts I hear, but I hear it frequently and it makes a lot of sense. Regression can be two things. It can be negative or it can be positive. Positive regression coming for those that have not been scoring as many touchdowns as their volume should indicate. There's guys that have far exceeded the touchdowns they should be getting so far. Negative regression or just regular regression. I don't know. Regression's coming either way. It's kind of like winter is coming for Game of Thrones. So it can be really good if you don't like any of those characters, or really bad if you are really counting on them to do some development. Probably one of the worst analogies I've done. Tight end. Let's go over to tight end, and we have Hunter Henry coming in at $4,000 on DraftKings. He got the targets when they were playing from behind, but I don't care when you're getting the targets as long as you're getting them. He seems like he's healthy enough to be out on the field and contribute. $4,000 is a really reasonable price. This might be a time to play some 2 tight end lineups because DraftKings did not make it easy with their pricing this week. $4,000 compared to $5,700 on FanDuel, $21 on Yahoo. Yeah, that's the site to play him on. Austin Hooper hasn't been priced up as he should have been. $5,300 on DraftKings is a great value. So there you have 2 great tight end options to consider. I'll go over to FanDuel to consider Evan Ingram. He's only $300 more, and then $400 more is George Kittle when you compare him on FanDuel versus DraftKings. Mark Andrews is a great price on DraftKings at 4,900, and then we also have Waller on Yahoo at $18. So I mean, I think that tight end is a great spot this week. The tight ends that we're mentioning, these are guys that see 6, 7, 8 targets. The only concern is, I mean, like with Kittle playing the Redskins, maybe it's a blowout. But let's think about this. The Niners coming from the West Coast traveling east, that's 3 time zones, maybe 4. I don't know. It's a lot of time difference between those two. I know that the Redskins aren't that good. I don't think this should be a blowout like everyone's predicting. I mean, a 7 to 10 point game, in my opinion, is not a blowout. So I think that this game will be closer. There's no reason for them to take George Kittle off the field because they're up by 10. I mean, we're talking maybe one last possession in the fourth quarter, and they might rest George Kittle. But just assuming he's healthy, we shouldn't have any issue there. We have Delaney Walker gets a change of quarterback. I don't think that helps him one way or another. And then Jared Cook I have highlighted, but we also have to monitor his injury history as he progresses through the week. It takes us to defense. Defense leads us to some chalk plays. This Chicago-New Orleans game is a great game for defense, in my opinion. The Bears should have beaten the Raiders according to my talent level assessment between the two teams, even with Chase Daniel out on the field, but unfortunately they came up short. I think that they had a bye week to get ready, and they've been able to prepare for the Saints team that's shorthanded. They're also playing without Kamara. The Saints team is trying to get as many wins as they can without Breeze, just so that way they can not have to rush him back. So playing the Bears is a great way to let your defense score some points for you. So 3,000 for the Bears, 2,900 for the Saints. Those would be my 2 primary options on DraftKings. Just be aware, I think the Bears are going to be pretty chalky. $3,000 is really low, and they get to play at home. So it seems a little mispriced in my opinion, and I think a lot of people are going to think, oh, Bears, great defense, let me play them. We go over to FanDuel. I like the Minnesota-Detroit game. It's not very common where I find myself on a game that I think is going to be good for the defenses like this. So we have 4 different teams to consider on 2 sites. That gives us some nice flexibility at $3,500 on FanDuel for Detroit and $3,800 for Minnesota on FanDuel. I think there's some great considerations. Jacksonville at $13 is going to be my play on Yahoo. So that gives me $13 for the Jaguars defense against the Bengals, $12 for D.D. Westbrook against the Bengals as well. I might do a little bit of double checking. This could be a stack. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever think about this, but sometimes you have these wide receivers that do double duty on punt returns and kick returns. And when you're playing a team that's just in disarray, whether it's offensively, defensively, special teams, or all 3, you have an opportunity just to really, like, your talented guys can just go off because you got a bunch of untalented guys out there. They're not motivated. The coach is probably just like extremely frustrated. So you could find yourself, if D.D. Westbrook's returning punts like I believe he has at some points in his career, you could find yourself like really coming out ahead by playing these low-priced, mispriced guys. So just be aware of that as you're doing it, and just a little bit extra to cheer for, maybe watch this game while others are not tuning in. So Yahoo's given us some nice advantages there between David Johnson, D.D. Westbrook, and the Jaguars. And I guess I've been breaking even on Yahoo, so it's time to turn that around and just be positive. We got to get back right from last week. So we got a good week, bad week thing going on. So I guess we're going to have a good week this week. Hopefully this video helps you out. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. Be sure to check those out and respond as best we can. But we're primarily more active on Facebook, and that's pretty much it for right now. So check out Armchair Sports Talk, YouTube page, Facebook. Give us your feedback. Let us know what you like, what you don't like, and we'll try to give you some improvements for next time. Good luck to everybody, and we'll talk to you next time.